Okay. We're going to roll right into our winning team here tonight for the 54th Annual Bank of America 500. Our race winner is Brad Keselowski, the reigning NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion. He wins for the first time in 2013. It's his 10th win in his career, his first win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And he's joined up front by his crew chief, Paule Wolfe, and car owner Roger Penske. Brad, congratulations. Certainly put on a great finish there for us this evening, and it's got to feel good to get back to victory lane.
Sure does, Commander. You know, I forget your name sometimes, so we'll just go with Commander. But, you know, it is. It was a great night for us, obviously. Whenever you can win, it's a great night. But to win under the circumstances we did, obviously a little adversity in the middle of the race, and then a great battle with, you know, two stallions here, Casey Kane and Matt Kenseth. So to put all that together at the end and come out on top is something we're going to be proud of and cherish for a long, long time.
And Paule Wolfe, just talk about the win, how this has got to be a big win for the race team. I've had a lot of ups and downs this year, obviously, but this has got to be a special win.
Absolutely. I think, you know, we've had good race cars here, especially the second half of the season, and just seems like every time we turn around, something goes wrong. Some things in our control, some not. But you start to, you know, question, you know, the things that have been worked for you in the past to be successful. Like, you start to wonder if you need to do something different. And, you know, all the guys that work on these race cars and put them together back at the shop, I know everyone's hasn't done anything different than we did to win a championship. And the thing was to just stay focused and continue to work hard and know that eventually, you know, our luck and some things got to start to go our way and get the results. And I think we were obviously able to do that tonight. So definitely a big relief to get that first win this year.
And Roger Penske, congratulations on this victory here tonight at Charlotte. Just talk about maybe how this really gives the race team a good pop of momentum with 5 to go.
Well, I think, you know, we've shown speed, as Paul said, and, you know, we've had some issues, some our own, but at the end of the day, we hadn't been to victory circle. And I think for Brad, obviously he was concerned. We all were, but at the end of the day, we knew that he was the guy who gave us the championship last year. And I think, Brad, you don't realize that every driver in our stable now has won a race this year. So AJ, Blaney, Sam, Joey, and the 2 guys on the IndyCar side. So I'd say this is a pretty good night for us. And Paul, I want to thank you for persevering, and the team. You know, the Ford really, the engine was running tonight. I mean, you could really see it down the back straightaway. We had some speed, and the car really was handling. We just had to get him up there. I thought when we saw the jack under the car, I said, here we go again, not a good night. But at the end of the day, when it was time to go, we raced the best. And it was Brad behind the wheel that made it. It wasn't a fuel economy run. It was he digging deep and bringing us to victory lane. So it was a great night for us.
Questions now for this race team. Raise your hand. We'll start with Jenna, and we'll go to Deb Williams.
Jennifer, AP, for Paul and Brad, non-chase drivers don't really win chase races. So, but that being said, you guys are the defending champions. So how did you guys set out to sort of buck that trend?
I never thought we couldn't. You know, I never, you know, I don't look at those things and say, you know, just because you haven't done it or someone else doesn't normally do it, it can't be done. You know, that's just setting yourself up for failure. You know, the perception is, and rightfully so, that the guys that are in the chase are, you know, the cream of the crop, and that's how obviously they would make it in the chase, and they should win races and probably, you know, sweep the chase. But this is a very good team. You know, some circumstances, like Paul said, under our control didn't go our way, and we didn't execute with, and some not under our control. But along the way, all season long, we've had the speed. We've had what we need to be a championship team. We just haven't put them all together. All the pieces haven't come together on the nights that count, and they, you know, for the most part did tonight. I feel like Paul said, we've had the speed in our cars. You know, there's been weeks where we've had the execution, not as many as we want, but we haven't always had those pieces together. And then there's been weeks where we've had the speed and the execution, and we've just had some rotten luck. Atlanta comes to mind, and I think the spring Loudon race, I thought we could have won that race, and the yellows won against us, or Daytona with the cautions, and Phoenix with the cautions. It's just been kind of one of those races where you say, or one of those years, how much more can they throw at you? And I think we ran out of things for them to throw at us tonight with the jack and still find a way to win. So that was very special.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think, the fact that we weren't in the chase, I don't think had anything to do with the speed in our race cars and the capability of anybody on the team. I think we've shown that, over the last year and a half that we were capable of winning a championship and doing the things that it takes to do that. Things didn't go our way, and we didn't make the chase, but that didn't mean we didn't have the speed. So to be able to win a race during the chase doesn't, I don't think should be a big surprise.
Let's go to Deb, and then we'll go up front here to Tom and then Bob. Go ahead, Deb.
Deb Williams, RacingToday.com. This is for Paul and Brad, or Roger, if you want to chime in too. In regards to the two-tire, four-tire decision, just to bear a little bit of history, 1994 it came to a two-tire, four-tire. Rusty was driving the two-car then. The crew chief went with 4 tires. They went with 4. Jeff Gordon went with 2, won his first race. This time you went with 4, and Casey went with 2. Please address the thought process there, track position versus going with the 4 tires.
I wanted 4, and I wasn't leaving until we put lefts on it.
Well,
I didn't tell him that part. If he wouldn't have put 4 on, I was going to yell and scream like a little kid.
I think going into the race, we kind of, in our pre-race talk, we kind of have a plan and know, what we feel like we want to do in different situations. And, especially down to the end there, the guys that already have, the track position, they're not going to want to give it up. So, they're going to most likely do the 2-tire. So for us to beat them, or to have a better shot at beating them, you need to do something a little different. And with not many cars on the lead lap, for me, I thought it was a pretty easy call to take 4 tires at that point. I knew our car had speed in it. We showed that. It took us a while to get there. We had the issues on pit road that set us back, but we slowly worked our way towards the front, and kind of having that last caution there at the end just kind of reset it for us and gave us the opportunity to get in victory lane.
Tom, and then over here to Nate, and then Bob.
Hi, Brad. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Congratulations. Last year in your championship run, you talked a lot about how the history of the sport and, means a lot to you. What does it mean to win at Charlotte?
Well, winning in Charlotte is important for a lot of reasons, but the most important one is you look at your team and the people that travel on the road. This is a bit of a traveling circus, 38 weeks a year, and there's a lot of sacrifices that are made for those people to travel so much. That's not even counting the testing and other demands that there might be. So those guys spend a lot of time away from their friends and family and make sacrifices to essentially make me a hero, and that's not something that's lost on me. So when they have the opportunity to come to Charlotte and bring their family and friends and kind of showcase what they do, and then you combine that with success, I think it really validates to them some of those sacrifices they made, or whether it's missing their kid's soccer game or whatnot, and it's something very special for them. So, to me, when I'm going to look back at tonight, I'm going to look back at the victory lane photos that you're in and that have your shop guys or your road guys, and they're there with their mom, dad, or son or daughter, wife, whatever it might be, and know that those moments mean a lot to them. So that's the most significant thing to me about winning in Charlotte, and why it's always very, very special, because it's more about giving back to them in a way, and hopefully my guys really enjoyed it.
Let's go over here to to Nate, then Bob, and then Jeff.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. For Paul and Brad, you guys talking about what's different this year from last year? It seemed like last year the key to the championship was just you guys executed. You guys always were on it and didn't make mistakes versus this year. If you guys would have executed better this year, do you think you would be in the chase right now, contending for the championship? And when you talk, Paul, about what you could do differently, is it mainly just focusing like you did last year a little bit more and just avoiding stuff like the jack tonight?
Well, when I look at execution, that's more than just a pit crew. That's me too. I can always be better as well. So, I'm very careful how we word that and say that, and I think I could do a better job. I look back at a couple races, the Daytonas and Talladegas, and I don't think I executed like I needed to. And it's been all around different issues. And it's hard to pick just one, and I know that's difficult because everyone wants to always find one thing. A lot of people came up to me and asked me about fuel mileage, and you seem to have better fuel mileage last year. Do you think that was a difference? No, not really. I think we've got great fuel mileage this year as well. The races are playing out different, and the strategy for the Generation 6 car is different. So, it's not fair to really pick one area. But obviously, if we would have executed better, yeah, I do feel like we'd be in the chase. But, we can't look back. We got to look forward. We won here today, and I want to win every other race left in this season, and I want to win next year. So spending a lot of time complaining about missing out on opportunities early in the season isn't going to do us any good. We got to look forward, and we got to find ways to win as the sport continues to evolve.
Let's go go ahead, I'm sorry, Nate.
Brad pretty much said it well there, but, I don't think it's really doing anything different than what we've done. And that's, there's times when you second guess what worked for you in your past, does it still work? But I think the biggest thing, like Brad said, the strategies, some of the strategy stuff has changed with this car. We've seen different racing this year. We've seen a little bad luck. We've made mistakes as a team. There's not one thing that stands out, but absolutely from a raw speed standpoint, yes, I think we're definitely capable of making the chase. So all it would have taken is 2 or 3 of the things that happened to us, whether it was a mistake on our part or a caution falling the wrong way. Yeah, maybe we would be in the chase, but we're not. And right now our focus is continue to try to win races and be better as a race team so we can come out stronger next year.
Let's go to Bob and then to Jeff Gluck and then back to Mr. Engel.
Bob Hawker, Sporting News. I have 2. First for Paul. When you came back into the pits after to obviously take the jack off from underneath the car, was that you guys had to fix? Did you have to fix the post a little bit or something so that you could jack the car the next time around?
The post was okay. It was just the side skirt that comes down off of the body there was folded under from the jack, basically. So I just wanted to get that out so it didn't drag the track.
And for Brad, when you look at the trophy of this race a year from now or 2 years from now, are you going to look back at it and think, heck yeah, we won Charlotte? Or are you going to think about, yeah, we won Charlotte, that was the year we didn't make the chase?
No, I'm going to think, without that yellow, we probably wouldn't have had an opportunity to win the race. But last year, without the yellow that came out, we probably would have won the race. And it's funny how that works. And I was thinking that as I was pulling in Victory Lane, how we had a dominant car here last fall of last year, 2012. And, the yellows just played against us, and we didn't get an opportunity to really capitalize on it. And this year, we had an excellent car as well. And we caught a little bit of a break with the yellow. So it's funny how those things come around sometimes. And either way, we got to win, and that's what I'm going to think about.
Go ahead, Jeff, then we'll go to Mr. Engel, and then we'll go upstairs.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Brad, you obviously have a talent for riling people up at times with your words, and you had plenty of opportunity to do that both after you won the championship and even early this year. And when you didn't make the chase and kind of through some of the frustration you've had this year, it seemed like some people took pleasure in that. I think about Gil Martin's tweet after Richmond. And so as you've had to deal with that this year, how have you dealt with that? Has it humbled you? Has it fired you up more to see people kind of taking pleasure and you not doing as well this year? And how have you handled the frustration?
Well, in a competitive environment like racing is, there's always going to be people that root against you, no matter what you're doing. It's actually a little bit of a thrill in a way when you can step back and really appreciate it. In the moment, it kind of sucks, when your sister goes on stage and introduces you, and there's always that one loud, annoying guy that boos you and 3 or 4 people that cheer or whatever it might be. In the moment, that's not really all that much fun, but when you get back home or when you think about it in a grander scheme and, big picture, I guess you would say, you realize what that means. You realize that, there's the one guy that, is a great fan of somebody else, and he knows you're a threat and is going to take pleasure in you not succeeding because he knows it's just a better opportunity for his guy to succeed. So I think you have to see those things big picture, and it's hard to do in the moment. But as I look back at it, certainly I want to be cheered, and I want people to be excited when I win. But I also know that the reality is you're never going to have everybody that likes you. And I think that when you try so hard to make everyone like you and to be everything to everyone, you end up being no one to anyone. So it's just something that's not possible, and you have to move on and accept it. And, yes, there's going to be people that take pleasure in our failures, but there's also a lot of people that take pleasure in our successes. And I'm not going to reward those that take the pleasure in our failures. I'm going to enjoy the success with those that enjoy it like I do.
Let's go back to back there to Greg.
This is kind of an add-on to Mr. Gluck's question, but I was interested to know through all this, missing the chase and all the bad, what's kept Brad going? I mean, what's been your motivation to? Because I mean, it can be not only a humbling experience, but something that could just run you into the ground. But yet you've continued to be positive, and now you're back winning again. What's kept you going through all this adversity, especially this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really great question. I think that when I look at Roger and putting together the 22 nationwide team, the success we've had over there, that reinstills confidence, I should say, in myself. I think I look at some other things that have happened. The truck team runs really well. That makes me feel good. And I know, too, in the back of my mind that we've had strong runs with this car and with this team, and we just haven't, finished it off. And when you look back on the weekend, and I get all these fancy graphs and things, and you see them and you read them and say, all right, we were the fastest car at this point in a race, and we were really strong in this category or that category. And you see those things, those categories are different week to week, and you see that you're really good in each category, but on different weeks and never all together. It's there. You just got to put it all together. It's like this great jigsaw puzzle, and you start to make progress on it. And yeah, am I frustrated that it didn't come all together? Absolutely, but you start to see hope, and I've seen hope the whole year. But I think the relationships that we have together with all 3 of us here, Roger and myself and Paul, is really important to me and has helped a lot as well.
Let's go to press box, and then we'll come down for a couple down here. Go ahead, press box.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Brad, have you gotten the tank yet?
No, but I might have a little more funding to go get one now. So I guess that's good, right? I got to win a couple more this year, Lee.
And for Paul, you mentioned on the radio that you felt, you at least hoped that you had turned the corner. Is part of your, trying to get back on track, was it that much of a challenge to make the transition from Dodge to Ford this season? I mean, did that have anything to do with it, or is there anything specifically that you can point to that has been more challenging?
No, I don't look at the transition from Dodge to Ford like, I think that's gone really smooth. And those guys have supported us real well. I think, just changing to the Gen 6 car is more of a challenge than switching manufacturers in my eyes. And, like I said, we've had speed. We had great cars to start the season off. We were in position to win a bunch of races there, the first handful of races, and thought things were going well. And then we just lost some momentum. And like Brad said, a lot of the strategy and the way these races play out definitely changed a little bit from what it was with the old car. And then, it seems like we we definitely didn't have the speed in our cars maybe through the middle part of the season, but I feel like here the last part of the season we've been kind of back to having the good speed. We just haven't been able to execute. And, obviously tonight wasn't an easy night for us, but, with a fast race car and Brad doing a great job and staying focused all night, we were able to overcome the issues on pit road and get that first win.
Another one in the press box. Go ahead.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. Brad, after the race in Victory Lane, you said there are a handful of guys you can't race hard with in this deal because they freak out. I'm not asking you to name names unless you care to, but I was just curious as why you think that is.
No, I just think it's a compliment to Casey and to Matt. Casey and Matt race the way I think this sport should be done, and I think we put on a show today. I hope the fans enjoyed it. I obviously enjoyed it winning, but when I look back at this race, and Bob asked this question earlier, when I look back at this race, part of what I'm going to remember is obviously the side-by-side battle for the win in the closing laps. And it's so important to this sport. That's our overtime finish. That's our, marquee moments. That's our fourth quarter final drive touchdown for a win. It's being able to make a pass for the lead in the closing laps. And to do that, it takes a level of respect between drivers. And that particular group, Matt and Casey, they have that. And I have that with them. And that's why it's so rewarding to race with them and to win a race like this.
Follow up.
Spencer, Fox Sports, could that be the answer to your 100%? I mean, if we really get down to the essence of that and put all the other BS aside, could that be, what we're truly looking for? Is that what might lead to these what I call game 6, not game 7, but kind of moments in racing and not just a bunch of people bitching and riding around?
Yeah, I think it's really healthy for the sport, in my opinion, to have last lap, last segment, whatever you want to call it. I know it wasn't the last lap, but it was the last, half dozen or so battles for the win. I think that's the kind of drama our sport needs, and that's something that I'm proud to be a part of. The rest of it I don't think is as productive, but that was, to me, what I look back on and think of as great races, whether I'm a part of it or not. So it's something I'm, just proud of because it kind of fits my code of racing. Hard racing, fair racing, for the lead, for the win when it counts at the end.
Go ahead to the right, Stan.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. The question is actually for Roger. Roger, if you will, you are a veteran in racing that understands the ebbs and flows of your entire operation. What have you done over the course of the last 30 races to let your driver and your crew chief know the confidence you had in them to get to where they finally got to tonight?
Well, I think it starts, at the beginning of the year when we, set the team up, and I had the confidence because coming off the championship last year, obviously, we had a professional organization, a group that pulled together. When I look at the season, and I'm communicating with Paul and certainly Brad and the team on a daily basis, and we talked about little things that maybe we hadn't done so well, but I think reliability, if you look at the fuel system and things like that we had to deal with, this year, and certainly the new car, I'd say reliability. And my concern was, we needed to get on top of those things, and there was no excuses from the crew. Obviously when I saw some of the pit work we've had, over the last several weeks, we sat down as a group here about a week ago after New Hampshire and took our top 10 people, and then we set, a pretty strong agenda, for where we're going. And I think a byproduct of some of that we saw tonight. We knew we had good cars and we got the best drivers. It was a matter of executing. And I never lost confidence. And, I'm a guy, glass half full, not half empty. And I wanted to see Brad get a win. He didn't want to go through this season after being the champion. You saw when Tony Stewart got his win. here before he had his accident, what it meant to him, and I think I've seen that in the past. But, we did get Joey in the chase. That was a, big, hard run, and if Brad would have had the reliability here at the end, he'd have been in too. But to me, Kyle Busch didn't get in it last year. I think Gordon didn't get in 1 year. So you got some great drivers sometimes that don't make it. That doesn't mean that they've lost anything. It's just the way that it works out. This is a very competitive sport. Every aspect of it is. And at the end of the day, you have some winners and losers. Tonight we were a winner.
Let's go back to young lady back in the back. Raise your hand. We'll get you the mic. Then we'll come up to Mike, and then we'll finish with Jay.
For Brad and Paul, if you want to chime in, Kelly Crandall from Popular Speed back here in the back. You've talked about what kept you going throughout this season, but what about from a mental aspect? The deeper you go into the year, missing the chase, everything that could go wrong seemingly has gone wrong, from mistakes, even tonight. So from a mental aspect, some drivers talk about losing confidence. Was there anything for you through the years that you thought about, or where was your mind at? And then to follow up from that, what's the relief now that you won't go winless coming off of the championship?
Well, first off, I've read your articles before, and I never knew who you were, so now I know who Kelly Crandall is, but nice to meet you. I mean, obviously it's a relief, because you're right, going into the off season and having to answer those questions, not just from the media, but those questions come up from yourself. They're not fun. They're not fun at all. But now we obviously don't have to do that. And, when the moment came where it was obvious we didn't make the chase, which, by the way, wasn't until about 50 to go at Richmond, from that moment on, I looked forward. I didn't look back. And I don't look back unless someone asks me to look back. Like I said, it's not productive. But obviously, you still need to have success and carry some momentum into the next season. And I think that's what we did today. And that's, like I said, the monkey that we got off our back, so to speak. But I do think this is a really key moment for us. This is not as big a clutch win as it would be if we had won Richmond, but still a clutch win for us in a very important scenario in front of all the hometown guys. And, we had a lot of sponsors, a lot of people here tonight, a lot of team guys here tonight, their families, like I said earlier. And to be able to win in front of them, the boss is here too. I forgot about that part. I got to win in front of him, but that's important, and we showcase that we're capable of getting that done if we all just put it together when it counts.
Final two questions. We'll go front row with Mike and then finish with Jay.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. This one's for Paul. You mentioned that the hardest part of this year has been the adaptation to the Gen 6 car, and obviously tonight speaks to the fact that you're finally getting on top of it. But there's discussion, there's a test tomorrow, there's some other things that NASCAR's talking about, possibly changing the car. They said they were going to leave it alone early in the year, but obviously going into next year, they're probably going to make some tweaks. When you are obviously behind some of the other organizations as far as getting a handle on this car, how frustrating is it to you to know that they're probably going to be changing this car and you haven't totally figured it out yet at this point?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say we were much far behind from some of the other teams. I think we haven't executed, but as far as just figuring out the speed in the cars, I don't think we're very far off on that. It was a challenge for us, but I feel like as a company, we've done a good job at adapting to the new car and having speed. I mean, obviously with the 22 group making the chase and getting a win, I mean, they've shown great speed, and we have as well. So I feel good about that. And, you just got to continue to work hard. We're going to do this test on Monday and, be ready for whatever they throw at us and be able to adapt. I mean, that's what it's all about. And the sport changes so fast, and you have to have great people in place that can continue to move forward and find ways with new rules to get a jump on the competition.
Final question. Go ahead, Jay, all the way in the back.
Jay Pennell with Fox Sports. This is for Roger primarily, but earlier this month you were able to lock up Brad through 2017. but Miller's cut back to 24 races. What does this win and securing a win in a season where you don't make the chase, what does this win do to help secure and fill those final 12 races?
Well, I think it's obvious, the relationship we've generated with Miller for, many, many years, with Rusty and Danny Sullivan going all the way back. And, they committed to us even when we didn't have the best season, because it's not about one season or one driver. It's about a relationship. And certainly, as I went to them and said that could we look at a little different format going forward, and it was a business discussion between the two organizations. I think we have been able to put together a sponsorship when you think about our team going forward, with sponsorship with Shell Pennzoil through 17, and also with Miller. And then we have the great associates there with us. We're in great shape now with two good drivers, great drivers, and I think with Paul and Todd and the rest of the team, and certainly that's important to us. But the relationship with Miller is outstanding, and I think that Brad's been a great leader with them. They like him. They like what he does out in the public. With a lot of the things they have him do around their customers is important, and I think that's one of the reasons they signed up with us.
Congratulations to the number 2 Miller Lite Ford, crew chief Paule Wolfe, driver Brad Keselowski, and owner Roger Penske for tonight's win.
You were worried, weren't you, Bob? That's one of the night.